It is 10 a.m. We begin this hour with breaking news of a police-involved shooting in Pasadena. It happened just before 1 o'clock this morning. Within the Park Heights neighborhood behind me is Cold Spring and Park Heights, and this is what the PD calls one of its hot spots.
Golf is a tough game.
Nobody wants to talk about it. My husband, I was telling you, was planning to play golf yesterday, but apparently that's not going to happen. All right, Tony, thank you. And as I mentioned right off the top of the hour, we do have some breaking news. Firefighters at the scene of a fire on East 26th Street. These cars are all parked the wrong way. That's supposed to be a buffer zone, and cars are supposed to park like this one. Wait for it. A Seahawks fan in Arizona has painted his house blue and green in honor of his favorite team. It's so much worse when you actually see it. A Harford County man is charged with attempted murder and arson in a fire that injured a firefighter on Christmas morning. Montgomery County officials just wrapping up a press conference right now. 8 people at this point unaccounted for, including 2 children. This is a quiet residential neighborhood here in Russet. It's been turned into a construction zone throughout the day today. You can see this dirt path down here just next to this house in Russet.
So a few thoughts come to mind. I love Make Dating Great Again.
Right.
That's pretty
cute.
It's funny. But did you happen to catch 20,000 Americans have signed up, only 5,000 Canadians?
So despite the temperatures airing in our favor, it sounds like we are checking on how it could affect travel plans for folks going out tonight and into tomorrow morning. Kelly Boulware from the State Highway Administration, she is on the phone with us now this morning. So obviously we are hoping for the best here, but as we know, you always prepare for the worst. Kelly, what is the plan?
We'll be able to do that to prepare folks for Monday morning rush hour.
Excellent. All right. And we'll tell folks to take a little extra precaution tomorrow morning just to be on the safe side. Kelly Boulware, once again from the State Highway Administration, thank you for your time this morning, and take it easy out there, folks. New this morning, 2 parents in the Washington, D.C. area, they are facing cruelty charges this morning after police say they left their 2 young children alone in a cold car. We all know how cold it was. In fact, police cars and an ambulance raced to the scene late yesterday afternoon after a call from a concerned witness. Officers watched over the 2 kids in a patrol car, waiting for Children and Family Services to arrive. And across the street, patrons at an upscale restaurant near Washington Circle say the couple was attending a private wine tasting event when police came inside looking for them.
Yeah, I think some people were looking.
Indeed it is. The parents, they are now charged with first-degree cruelty to children. There's still no word on exactly how long the children were alone inside that car before police and those witnesses called it in. Good morning. Thanks once again for being with us. It is Sunday, February 22nd. 8:01 is the time. We certainly have a mess out there still to contend with this morning, and a lot of stories to tell from yesterday's storm. We, of course, have team coverage on this winter blast. Amber Miller covering Baltimore County for us from White Marsh this morning. Kathleen Cairns is live in the Pimlico area of Baltimore City. We do begin, though, this morning with Tony Pagnotti taking a look at the weather all through the region and letting us know what we might expect for today. Good morning again, Tony. All right, Tony, thank you. Many areas within Baltimore County reaching more than 7 inches, as you just heard, with one of the highest totals in White Marsh. When it was all said and done, that part of the county accumulated 9.2 inches of snow, and that is where we find Amber Miller streaming live for us this morning from the storm tracker in the White Marsh area. And quite a difference the temperature makes, but we're certainly seeing a lot more snow than I think a lot of folks were expecting, Amber. Oh, and we are, again, so lucky that this happened over the weekend. Imagine what this would have been like had it been a Monday morning afternoon commute. All right.
I can't imagine.
I know.
Yep.
Let's not even think about it. All right, our thanks to Amber Miller in White Marsh for us this morning. And we do continue our live team coverage now. City side streets, of course, they are still very hazardous this morning, and the sidewalks certainly as well. There's a wet, slushy, and icy still mess left behind. Kathleen Cairns streaming live for us now from the Pimlico area. Kathleen, you've had lots of great info, and you've certainly seen a lot of first responders who have to be out in this mess this morning. All right, Kathleen, we should issue the same caution to our reporters to be careful out there as well. And we continue our team coverage of this winter storm right now. We're checking in with Jeffrey Raymond from the Baltimore City Department of Public Works. Jeffrey, I know it was certainly a busy night and day yesterday for you folks. What are we looking ahead to today? A lot of folks, of course, posting pictures of the snow on social media. We've seen some great ones talking about what's going on in their neighborhoods and maybe even complaining about the snow. I love this one. This is one of our favorites. Bill posted this sign from one of the churches in the area. If you're praying for snow, please stop. It's good to mention, too, we've had a lot of calls from various churches this morning saying that they're canceling services today. So if you're heading out, if you have to head out, check before you go. This one, too. Shoveled my car out last night. Still wouldn't move this morning. I think a lot of folks may be seeing that until some of that ice is able to melt later today. That from Amy. And this one from Corey, another very cute pooch. Happy super snowy morning to you and to you as well. So at least this weather for most of us is for the dogs, but you can track it on your smartphone. Download the WBFF Weather Authority app. The best part, of course, the app is free. If you go to your app store, just search WBFF. That can get you started. And it may come in handy later today to see when some of that ice begins to melt for us. So we're thinking warm thoughts. The temperatures will cooperate, at least for today anyway. But we're talking about baseball. The Orioles finalizing their roster before opening day. We'll tell you which big names will be back this season.
Kai, we're here at the Howard County Senior Center. That's normally what it is. It has been turned into the Disaster Assistance Center. And I would say the reaction today was mixed. I would say it was hopeful. We saw several connections being made between possible employers and employees who desperately need jobs right now. This is a place where people can come to get water, to get food, all kinds of resources that are currently available to them. That job fair today saw more vendors than job hunters. And a variety of different employers were here with jobs to offer. There were lots of retail establishments, service establishments. Some of the casinos were here and the big box stores like Walmart and Home Depot. They also were offering help with resumes and help filing unemployment, both for employees and employers who've never done this before. The county executive, Alan Kittleman, he was also here today. He talked about how encouraging the turnout was today.
I know it's over 50 hired people.
And the county executive, Kittleman, he spoke about the social media frenzy that has happened in the wake of this disaster, that there have been so many people who have connected through the Keep Ellicott City Working Facebook page and other outlets on social media that are really trying to get the word out and try and match up employers with people who really need jobs. So there have been a number of connections made that way. This center, the Disaster Assistance Center, I want to mention, is going to be open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week from 2 to 7, and it's open Thursday and Friday from 10 to 3. And there are folks here throughout that time who can help with people, help people who need jobs, whether they need resume help or help filing unemployment claims, for instance. So they will be out here all this week. But the job fair, again, today, I would say mixed. You know, there were a lot of vendors saying they wish there were more job hunters out here. We're live in Ellicott City. Mary McKenzie, Fox 45 News. Jen. And Kai, it was here in this alley where Pat Artis tells me her attacker tried first to break into this home, kicking in the basement door. She thinks he then came through the alley, through this hole in the fence, and into her backyard to lie in wait, breaking into her home through her basement door. It's a chilling story that's put people in this neighborhood on edge.
Pat Artis was asleep early Saturday morning.
I woke up to somebody touching me on the arm, shaking me. It was a stranger.
Dressed all in black.
He had a blade to my throat. He said, "Shut up. You know what this is."
The 71-year-old tried to keep him calm and keep herself calm, thinking of her granddaughter asleep in the next room.
He threatened on numerous times to cut my throat, to jab the knife into my neck, as he said.
Shockingly, her attacker told her his name.
But it was at that point that I absolutely felt like he was going to kill me.
After he raped her, he took her money and her car keys.
He made me walk him to my car,
which he then took and drove just a few blocks away, where he crashed, totaling her car and damaging several others. After all Artis has been through, she is outraged to hear from neighbors that hers might not be the first assault. Police today said they didn't know about a possible connection.
Why wasn't the community aware that we have somebody roaming through these back alleys late at night, early morning hours, assaulting people? Why didn't I know that?
We were rolling when detectives showed up today, and she let them have it.
This man held this knife at my throat for at least a half an hour.
She says the neighborhood has been neglected.
People in this neighborhood have complained about these lights in this back alley for months. No way should that perpetrator have had the opportunity to kick in that door across the alley and run over here 40 minutes later and invade my house, to come into my house and take from me.
Behind evidence in this case, of course, they are investigating. This is generally the same neighborhood where a 90-year-old woman who died last week after another home invasion that happened earlier this month. Now, police tell us they will be holding a community meeting tomorrow night. I want to be sure I get this right, at the Northwest District headquarters. That's on Reisterstown Road. That will happen tomorrow evening at 6:30. We're live in Northwest Baltimore. Mary McKenzie, Fox 45 News. Kai.
We're used to seeing officers here, in the car, but not necessarily like this.
On a routine daily basis, I get out of my patrol car and I actually walk the strip.
How you doing, gentlemen? How's it going today, fellas? How you doing today?
In an effort to deepen the relationship between the community and the department, Baltimore City is getting officers out of squad cars and onto the streets on foot.
And I appreciate you working with you.
Not a problem. I enjoy coming out here. It's always fun coming out here. I love being out here.
1/2 hour of every 10-hour shift. Officer Kevin Simmons has been on the force for 11 years, and he's walked the block like this throughout his career. Simmons also calls Park Heights home, and on the streets here, he's part officer.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Part celebrity.
They label me officer friendly a lot. We coming. How you doing, sir?
Within the Park Heights neighborhood behind me is Cold Spring and Park Heights, and this is what the PD calls one of its hot spots. So at any given time, you'll almost always find an officer here on foot patrol. And it seems to be working.
If it was up to me, we would have a captain's.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
There are challenges to policing your own neighborhood.
The one thing I get when I lock somebody up that I grew up with is, "Oh, I wish it wasn't you." He said, "If it could have been any other officer that arrested me, but you."
There have been flashy arrests made because of this program. A first-degree murder suspect who happened to walk past an officer on foot patrol, for example.
If you spend too much time focused on what could happen, you miss out on the things that's going on around so that you can try to help people. But
it's taking steps towards trust. Mary McKenzie, Fox 45 News. They certainly are, and fast progress too, believe it or not, especially when you see the conditions they're dealing with. This is a quiet residential neighborhood here in Russet. It's been turned into a construction zone throughout the day today. You can see this dirt path down here just next to this house in Russet. The scene is actually where the main break occurred is about 2/10 of a mile down that rugged trail that had to be really constructed today. Now, what you're not seeing, and as we turn this way, you can see a few of the trucks, but there are trucks that have been coming and going throughout the day to repair this water main break. It's affecting as many as 30,000 homes and businesses ever since the early hours of this morning. They've been on scene, in fact, here since about 3 a.m. working to replace a 60-foot piece of pipe that runs directly alongside the Little Patuxent River. Erosion right along the riverbank from this weekend storm, it may be to blame for this break. And it's causing headaches for one woman we spoke with today whose husband is disabled, and she says the biggest challenge this morning was getting information.
You don't have any control over incidents like what has just occurred, but you need to know what to do.
Now, one thing residents can do is take containers down to the Home Depot. It's off 198 here in the Laurel area. There's also a water tower, we're told, along Brock Bridge Road. You do need to bring your own containers to either of those locations. Coming up at 5 o'clock in our next hour, you'll hear from the Director of Public Works about the logistical challenges, as you can imagine, undertaking to get this piece of pipe replaced right alongside the Little Patuxent River. We're live in Russet tonight. Mary McKenzie, Fox 45 News. Karen? Jeff, Jennifer, he has sent out tweets ranging from an Orioles shirt that he was wearing when the O's were in the playoffs. He's also done GoPro experiments with a water bubble. Now, Reed Wiseman is on his way home to the States today after landing safely back on Earth from the International Space Station. The Soyuz space capsule, you can see it there, carrying Wiseman and 2 other astronauts, one German, one Russian, landed in a remote area of Kazakhstan early this morning local time. Wiseman and his 2 colleagues spent the last 166 days aboard the space station, clocking more than 70 million miles during their time in space. You can see the capsule after it landed. Russian recovery teams rushed to help the crew exit the vehicle and adjust to gravity after their stay in space. Once safely out of the vehicle, the 3 astronauts get checked out by the recovery teams, and now just a matter of hours later, they're already heading back home. Wiseman, a Baltimore native, as you said, a graduate of Dulaney High School and Johns Hopkins. He, again, spent the last 166 days aboard the space station, in his words, looking with awe at our planet during that time. And while he was on the ISS, Reed Wiseman dazzled us with his Twitter account. Take a look at some of these tweets that he sent out during his time there, going all the way back to June 15th, really early on in his voyage. He said, "Waiting to fly over Maryland. Hi, Mom and Dad." So there we are, somewhere tiny in that photo. Inspiring ones as well of the water bubble experiments, as we mentioned, with the GoPro. He also took photos of the Chesapeake Bay just within the last couple of days, and even some selfies from space. Getting a bit nostalgic as his ride came to an end. And that's a Vine video that he just shared yesterday of his last sunset aboard the ISS. What a ride it has been for all of us.